That's awesome. And my shredder valve is completely trashed. And we're screwed. All right, welcome back. So we're going to put a new remanufactured, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, A6 air conditioning compressor in the Cadillac. And this is the original one here. However, I bought the reman model that does not come with the clutch and the dual pulley assembly and all that kind of jazz. The pricing difference for a compressor with or without the compressor clutch assembly was drastic, so I chose to get the one without that and then simply transfer this. So this and that, don't you know? Anyway, so let's move on and get this one ready, and let's go ahead and get this stuff off of here and get it onto the new one that's over there in the box. So before we do that though, I've got to remove the bracket here. Didn't take it all the way off. There we go. That's in pretty good shape, really. Probably just clean it up and use it as is. Okay, that's interesting. What is that? Why is that there? What is going on with that? What is that for? I don't know what that is. Not important. This one sprung a leak. It was working, but it sprung a leak, and it's probably okay-ish, but I ain't interested in rebuilding it. I just wanted another one. So we got an AC clutch tool, or rental tool, from O'Reilly, and got to figure out how to use this thing. Clearly I've never done this before. Hey, look at that. It comes with those are orifice tube extraction things there. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna guess probably needs this, maybe? I don't know. Let me read the instructions. I'll be back. All right, I reckon we're gonna take this nut off first. 9/16. There we go. Let's see, what's the next step? I don't know. Let's see, I guess we just do some stuff. Put a little oil on this. This remover tool is pretty ganked up. The threads are all mangled. So we're gonna see how well we do here. Get a wrench for that. Let's see. Is it that one? Nope. I wonder if it's this one. Look at that. Hard to go wrong with that. So, I guess we just tighten that down. And that pulls it off. Let's see how well we do here. I'm gonna go easy on the old girl here. Trying to see what's moving and what ain't. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh, that was pretty uneventful. That's what that looks like. Interesting. All right, what's next? Okay, we got a snap ring in there. Looks like that's next. Do you know what you're doing? No. There we go. See there? Old school. There we go. Got one side off. Come on now. There we go. Easy peasy. Alright, is that all she wrote? Or what, is it a press fit? What's going on here? And you can hear the bearing somewhat. I mean, it's not dead silent, so I guess we're taking a little bit of a risk doing it this way. But yeah, how does that come off of there? We just got to pry that off or what? Okay, let's see if we can get this evaporator core out of this thing. So start taking this box apart. All right, well, this expansion valve right here where it connects to the core it's just welded. I can't get that off. So I was going to come in here, but basically what I did was I loosened this whole thing up. I was going to take the core out, but I don't really see a way to do that without taking the entire box out. And that's per service manual, so I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop right there. And what I'm going to do is try to put the impact on this guy here and put a wrench there and try to impact this out of there. And then run a pressure test on the core. If it fails, clearly the box has got to come out. If it passes, we stop right here, put this back together. So that's the current plan. We'll see how we do. All right, the impact made quick business out of that. So there's a handy tip for you. If you can't get your expansion valve off, can't get this loose down in here, you can take the expansion valve apart in the upper section. You have to cut the leads off so you can spin it off. And then get an impact. It's a 15/16 right there on the top part of this. And hold this with a 7/8, and you can get it right off of there. So that's what we did. Man, that rascal was on there. Let me tell you what. And clearly the expansion valve, this part broke loose, right? So it's threaded inside there. So I just spun that off. I cut the leads off. I want to put a new one on it anyway, but you know, it's kind of a hack job. But what are you going to do? And you know, this, whether or not it was still functioning, couldn't tell you. Not really concerned with it. Got a new one coming in, so that's what we're doing. That was pretty nasty down in there, wasn't it? All right, we're skipping around a little bit. Got to do a pressure test on this evaporator core here. So utilizing some of the original AC line that I pulled off of the car, I got it clamped down to the end of the top part here, and I've got it clamped here to the pipework that goes to a engine cylinder leak down tester sitting over there on the bench. And I got this piece of number 8 AC hose clamped down to this part, and I got a socket extension in there and clamped down, so that should be airtight, assuming of course that nothing in here is cracked. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is get that connected up to this El Cheapo Harbor Freight engine leak down tester. Anyway, you get it, right? Put some air in there. Check the meter, see if it holds, you know. Anyway, let's hook this thing up. You'll see. All right, we got the air hose connected up. I got the air regulator on the compressor set to 30 psi, so we can't go over that. Got this guy hooked up. And that's just, you know, let's see what we get here. So this is all the way closed. So let's open her up. Then we have to pull that out. There we go. Let's put, I don't know, Are you going to work? Started to move there. So there's 10 psi. No sense in going hog wild. Let's go over here to the compressor and see what that meter says. Yeah, it's down to 20, which the meter over there maxed out. So let's... There we go. Got her on 30 now. All right, so let's let's just put 30 pounds on it. That should be fine. If it can hold 30 pounds, it can hold, you know, it can do stuff. All right, so the instructions for the cylinder leak down procedure, it says the pressure in the cylinder being tested is indicated on the leakage gauge. That's the leakage gauge. The amount of leakage in the cylinder is determined by comparing the difference in pressure between the two gauge readings. Okay. Hey, look at that. We were supposed to stop that one up, but clearly we didn't. This thing was busy pressing all that oil out of that evaporator core, and it finally made its way up to the capillary tube. Whoopsie-daisy. All right, let me get a rubber hose for that. I'll have to plug. I completely didn't even, of course, how many times have I done this? Never. So we got to plug that one up too. All right, we got a little rubber elbow thing here, and got it clamped, and got a little 1/4-inch extension in there, and got that clamped. So it's pretty tight. That should do okay. So let's start again. All right, so there we go. We're off now. Let's start cranking the pressure up. Go easy. I don't want that to blow off there. I'm trusting that it can hold 20. So this meter, you know, it's the best Chinesium stuff you can find, really. And then you got this is the leak down. So I'm repurposing a tool that does engine stuff for something completely different. I'm going to make an assumption that says these two are not going to be completely spot on, which this one is like 1 psi over this one. So let's crank it on up to 30. Cringe moment. Let's see. That's as high as it's going to go, because over there. There we go. Let's see. All right. Let's just leave it there. It's about like 29.5. That's at 29. So either that's got 5.5 psi leak down, or, you know, this tool is, you know, junk. So if I turn it down to say, what is that? That is, that's two psi increments. 246. That's 26. That's a pound difference. 245. That's a pound difference. So go back up here. That's 29. That's 28. I think what I'm going to do is a bubble test. All right, they went and made some Dawn and water there to get soapy stuff. Looking at 30, this is about a pound difference here, but, you know, I don't trust by any stretch of the imagination. So let's see what we have here. We'll test this guy here. I don't see anything. Checking my connections first. The ones I cobbled together. I see bubbles popping, but not expanding. Not seeing anything. So let's move this felt gasket out of the way. Don't want to forget to put that back in place. The place where I was messing around down here was this lower connection, so this solder joint right here is of most concern to me. So again, this is just a safety check, so let me see if I can get a fine stream of stuff down there. Probably should have put a little more soap in there. Let me shake it up a little bit. Not seeing anything. I'm going to call it good. I think we're going to be fine. What I'm going to do is disconnect all this and button up this box, which is basically just reposition this. And what I'm going to do is get some 3M strip caulk and put it inside here before we press this back together. That way, it'll seal up nicely. So I'll go ahead and I'll put some. This has got a rubber foam-ish seal back here from the factory. That's it's done. It's gone. It's not worth messing with. So I'll trim the excess off here, I think, and we'll do 3M strip caulk around the whole box. And that should be good. So, all right, more later. All right, welcome back. It's the next day, and had to go rent a puller. Pardon me. Should have cleaned up my work area before. Gonna go with the OEM Tools for Professionals AC Clutch Pulley Puller. 27001. Got this from AutoZone. If it works out, I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to buy it. It was only 25 bucks, so kind of lightweight, but I can't see as this is going to be, hopefully, not too drastic. So anyway, I was looking at the manual, service manual, and it says a puller is in the manual that is basically a very similar style, and it clips right here underneath the edge of these outward, the outward part of this pulley here. All right, we're going to get our head out of our ass here. All right, after much wailing and gnashing of teeth, I finally figured out how to use the product. Get a socket for that and take this thing over there. Let's see how well we do. Well, that was uneventful. Not even on there very hard. All right, that's your Cadillac, early 70s Cadillac dual pulley. And bearing in there. What bearing is that, by the way? Sandtech B13-1110. Well, there's the bearing that they use on a A6 compressor. How about that? We got to take this guy off, I'm assuming. So yeah, got to figure that out. And, oh, there's a snap ring down in there. So let's get our snap ring pliers out. Well, there you have it. Got the remanufactured compressor mounted with the old clutch mechanism. That worked out just beautifully. I tell you what, it was pretty hard, but we stuck through it. Nope, I didn't do any of that. I said to hell with it, and I went and took that other thing back to O'Reilly, and I went and got a complete reman compressor with a complete new clutch, dual pulley, all that jazz. So I couldn't get the other one off. It was mangled down in there. It was a basket case. Somebody had clearly been down in there before me. So I was like, I messed with that for about an hour. I was like, this is fruitless. So anyway, went and picked up this reman from O'Reilly. So hopefully it'll work out for us. But this is what we're going to put on the engine. Cross your fingers. All right, we'll keep skipping around, but that's the only way I got to do it right now. So getting this thing back together. Got the box tightened up here. I just realized this bracket that comes down right here got to attach to that top bolt, so I got to pull that bolt back out and put the bracket right there. Got to put the temperature sensor back in there as well, and trying to get this thing squared away. I think the next step after I get this cleaned up a little more is go ahead and we're going to flush this evap core with the good old AC Pro Clean and Flush stuff. By the way, this is the same exact chemical in that Goo Gone stuff. You spray that, to get glue and gum off the wall and stuff like that. If you spray this on the floor and smell it, it's the same exact chemical, same consistency. It's just in a pressurized can. It's absurd. But anyway, this is 20 bucks. If I could find a way to put Goo Gone in a pressurized can, I'd do it because that's cheap. Also got to flush that condenser over there. All right, I sprayed about half a can of the flush in the evaporated core. I'll put the other half in the condenser, I reckon. And basically loosely taped some hoses over the end of these other two pipes here. I put the flush in there. Now I'm going to blow the rest of it through with air. I got the compressor set on 30 psi. And I'll use this little guy here, and I cut off the tip from a previous flush I did on the Corvette and put the air gun up in that tube, and this right here will fit into that nicely. So I got these pipes here draped down below the car so the flush will run on the ground. So that's kind of the way I'm doing it. All right, let's see if we can't do something about this condenser. Need to get the old dryer off of it, and I've got it sitting down here like this because it's fragile and I don't want to lay this on anything because of the fins. There's a bracket on that end, so this is safe. Need to go ahead and get this off of here first and then remove this bracket right here. So let me figure out which flare nut wrench I need for that. Not sure if that's going to do any good, but we'll see what happens. Don't want to break it. I shudder to think what the price of a new condenser is. May not even be any good. Maybe it may leak. I want to go ahead and get this off of here so we can leak test the condenser. So and we'll go for the makeshift impact. See how well this works. Hey, look at that. Worked out pretty well. This thing here is kind of rusty. So we're going to need to do some cleanup. Let's see, that is trying to pull out like that. And that's attached there. Let's take that off. That might make things a little easier. 1/4 inch maybe? No, 5/16. Nope, 9/32. What is going on here? Try the 1/4 again. It's probably just I'm just a moron. I don't know how many times this AC unit's been serviced in its life. Clearly I'm bumming today. We got a big storm coming into Alabama here tonight. This is Saturday night. So let's see, it'd probably be best to take this off now instead of bending that back. Somebody's been in here, and we're going to be in here too. It does have got a flathead on it, so let's don't do that. There's a wooden lip underneath there, by the way. So anyway, this is just me trying to protect the, you get it, right? Let's see. Interesting. And this isn't really, okay. Oh, okay, I see, all right. Well, let's just continue on with what we were doing. It'll be okay. I don't really want to take the bracket off of the condenser. Yeah, I'm not doing that, so it'll be all right. There we go. There we go. Come on now. Yeah, it's in there. Now let's try to separate these two guys here. Let's see rust flying out of there. There we go. Rascal's in there. All right. So yeah, that end there looks okay, but this end over here got a lot of rust down in there. This is a XH9. How about that? Probably aftermarket. What do we got here? C32250. It's got the sight glass on it too, you know? Like that was a big help back in the day. This came in from, this is branded as a Murray from O'Reilly. Used with R12/134 and certain mobile refrigerant, blah, 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 blah. GP, made in China. O-rings. HE08. All right. It is what it is. Okay, what are we going to do now? I guess we try to leak test this thing. Let me cobble together something for that, and I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and do the thing here. Do a little test here. I got this connected up, similar to the way we did the evaporator core. I mean, this thing here has got to hold, you know, a lot, like 150, 180 pounds of pressure, because that's the high side. So I got it up on about 22. That's on about 21. So similar to last time. So let's just spray her down there. See what that does. So I've got this hose. This hose is screwed down around the threads on this flare nut fitting. So that's a leak, but that's around the flare nut fitting. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. Take a look. That, I mean, when you try to put a hose around some threads and seal it, that's just, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to work. I don't see any bubbles. You guys see any bubbles? Around the fitting, that's not an issue. I'm calling that good. Let's move on. All right, I've got some more goodies in the mail from our friends at Old Air Products. Man, look at all that stuff. So what this is a POA valve. And we've got to inspect this thing and see how, let's see what it's going to yield here. So, all right, first up, accessories kit, sack kit. I ain't lying, sack, S-A-C-K, sack kit. I guess because it's in a sack. All right, first up, we got some of that goop to, you know, wrap around the temperature doohickey when we attach the temperature thing to the expansion core. Yeah, we'll go over that later. Anyway, so this thing here is a, what this is for is if you want to convert to a cycling clutch, you can attach this to the pipe on the evaporator core, and then this, it's a switch basically, you know, and it'll cycle your compressor on and off. And that's the wiring harness associated with that. So I'm assuming that goes right on there like that. Yep. This is a tube of goop. I don't know what this goop is. It's like Christmas. So that is a plain old Schrader valve. Got a couple of, several O-rings. And you got a couple of wiring butt connectors, a couple of screws to hold things down. Not sure what's in this tube here. Probably some kind of a dielectric grease, maybe for the electrical connecting. I don't know, I'm guessing. Let's see what's in the book right here. Now before we do that, let's just go look at the rest of it. So this is the POA valve. That's an R134 fitting right there. I'm guessing that's your low, yeah, it says L on it, low side. And one of these, so the capillary that goes on the top of the evaporator core, I'm assuming goes into that one right there because it takes a female thread on this, I mean a male thread on this end, and a flare nut. So, and anyway, and then this guy here, where does that go? I don't know. Let's just do a stare and compare, shall we? So yeah. And here's the expansion valve. Yeah, so there you go. This copper wire goes to a flare nut, And this has male threads on it. It goes into these female threads here. So the expansion valve connects to this port. The capillary tube, I'm going to call it a capillary tube for no other reason. Anyway, it connects to the top of the evaporator core, goes here, and then that's your low side fitting. So, all right, so I just run down through all that in my brain. So apparently, with this guy here, basically bolt this somewhere and take this temperature probe and attach it to the hose going into the evaporator core. You put this and you tape this to that, and then as the temperature drops to too low of a temperature, this switch would be connected in with your wiring harness on your compressor and cycle the clutch on and off. That is different from a conventional POA air conditioning system, whereby the compressor runs all the time and the pressure is relieved by the POA itself. This is a lot heavier than this. I guess this is made out of aluminum. This is made out of, yeah, that's made out of steel. Let's read the book. Thank you for buying the thing. Okay, fine. The old Air Deluxe POA valve upgrade kit includes a machined assembly to retain the original appearance. This unique kit includes the thermostat to convert the original AC system to a cycling clutch system. Service ports are included for use 134 R12 or R12. Basic mechanical skills and stuff is needed. You need to be, adept in how to do these things. AC system service for removal, recovery, charging system with refrigerator. Compare POA update to original POA. Make sure the ports for the bleed line and the equalizer tube for the expansion valve are in the same position as your original POA. The POA update is assembled and supplied with a service port for 134 refrigerant. If using R12 refrigerant, remove the 134A service ports. Lubricate the O-rings, so on and so forth. So yeah, you put the end of this thing in the same spot as where you would put the temperature probe on the expansion valve. They get taped to the top of the expansion core. Clearly, I need to go read this in depth. All right, let me do some reading. I'll be back. All right, I've got the condenser outside here. I put some black paint on the ends where the brackets are. Not a huge deal. Not going for concourse, just going for functionality. Got in here with a little screwdriver and straightened up a lot of these little fins. You'd be surprised at how many places it needed that. But anyway, got it all flushed out and got it cleaned off. Just waiting for the paint to dry. The next thing after that, we'll go ahead and put the new dryer in, and we'll do that here in a few minutes. All right, I've got the new dryer here, and comes a little baggie of O-rings, readily affixed, I might add. Holy cow! Is that entirely necessary? All right. Well, I reckon they knew what size we needed. I only got 2 in there. They're both the same size, so I guess you screw one up, you got another one. Seems to match the original one. Let me get a little PAG oil. I think I've made the executive decision. We're going to run R134A. I know that's controversial. Just bear with me. I'm going to run PAG 150, but this is PAG 46. All I'm doing is lubricating that O-ring, so it'll be all right. So I'll go get a fresh bottle of, I suppose I should not do this with dirty hands. What do you think? So, yes, I'm aware that R12, cools better in a lot of respects on vintage cars. I'm aware of that. It's just too hard to get a hold of. And I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of cooling to accommodate readily available parts and supplies. So that's pretty much sums up my reasoning completely. So let's see, how do we do this? Hey, look at that, I painted that screw. I didn't mean to do that, really. This modern looking silver screw they had in here, somebody had in here, could have kind of stood out like a sore thumb. Let's see, which side of this thing? Well, they're different sizes, aren't they, morons? So I guess it's the little side that goes to that. All right, let me get a wrench here. Well, it had a little pressure in it. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Kind of makes me feel good, actually. That means it doesn't have any contaminants in it, in my mind. So that says N right there. That side says N. Which side is the N? Which side is the Gazenta? Oh yeah, there's a hose over here. Let me go check the hose. All right, so compressor pumps the gas and goes in here and goes all the way through the condenser, and it comes out here, goes through this line and goes into the input where it's marked there. Goes into this big one here. So, you know, it always pays to just use sanity and check in on things once in a while and all that stuff, you know. So, how we're gonna do this here? There we go. That's how you do it, right there. And we'll put our little hole down in there. Don't tighten it up just yet. Let's tighten that up next. Big diesel truck out front. Somebody's getting a delivery. Whoops. So this is an O-ring, so no reason to go crazy. Just needs to be snugged, and it should. And that should be all it should take. Just shove a hole in it. It'll be all right. All right, there, good enough. Stop what you're doing. Stop doing the thing. You over tighten it. You over tighten it and you're screwed. If you don't tighten it enough, you can always tighten it some more. There you go. Let's go ahead and get this in the car. All right. See how well this goes. Clearly, I've got the garage door open. All the sounds of the street outside making their presence known. I guess we dip it in like that, maybe. And then finagle it down there like that. And something. Let's see, no, that ain't right. Get it. There we go. There we go. Got to line up the bracket. There we go. We've got that one done. And this one got it tilted back a little bit. Hey, look at that. Look at that. All right, we just got to put some nuts on. This faux handy little support bracket. Actually, it's really simple to install. All right, let me put these 4 nuts on here and tighten them down. I'll be right back. All right, so that's bolted down in place. And that's pretty cool. It's a major accomplishment, actually. So this hose here, this overflow hose, I don't know quite what to do with this. Probably zip tie it right in there, like that. Probably shorten it some. I cut it extra, you know, not knowing how this is going to work out. So, but I've got it run through here like this, because this radiator, it's aftermarket radiator. The overflow thing goes straight out that way. I really don't know what else to do with it other than find some sort of an elbow and come off of there. Would have been nice if the radiator company, this is a fine radiator. I like these American Eagle line from Champion. They're just great. I kind of wish that overflow had come off this way. So, but whatever, it is what it is. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it at all, actually. Right now, I got bigger fish to fry. So there's some nice hangers there. I mean, I suppose it could just sit in there like that. You know, not going to hurt anything. Other than it would rub against the condenser. That might be a minor issue. All right, so I didn't cut that. I left it alone, and let's put a zip tie right here. Not going to worry about it right now. So we'll get our cover back on. Yeah. He's making that up as he goes along. Well, you know, there's that too. There we go. Put some screws in here. Had this cover in and out of here about 100 times. Let's see, am I going to need to raise that hose up to get that in, you know, I'm going to leave that out for right now. Of course, you know, the compressor's got to go in. And I'm assuming I can slip it in there underneath that hose without having to take it apart. But there is one thing I have to do. On the Corvette over there, a while back, months ago, when I was getting that thing back together, I mistakenly put Teflon tape around the engine coolant temperature sender, which was a mistake because it makes the car think, you know, you're running hot or you don't have any water in your system because it has to ground to the block. Well, I forgot I did that and I corrected it. And I went and did it again on this motor. You're not supposed to put that because the water light's on in there. Every time you crank up the car, the water light's on. Because I put the Teflon tape on that sender right there, and that was dumb. So what I'm going to have to do here is take the wire off, take that out, take the Teflon tape off, and blah, blah, blah. You get it. But what that's going to do is drain a bunch of coolant out of the motor. And that's just going to suck. So what I'll probably do, I could just take it off there and then just let it run out on the floor and not worry about it. I could do that. Then take the tail off, put it back in there as fast as I can, and then fill up, you know, however. I got a big tub outside. I can put it underneath the car and capture it. All right, that wasn't terrible. Just didn't feel like videoing that because it was mundane and boring. Only got a few drops in the tub there, and the rest I cleaned up with the paper towel. So, yeah. Now I just got to figure out what I want to do next. I really need to put another gasket, or a thicker gasket or something in there. I got a slight seepage at the water neck. Not sure what I'm going to do about that just yet. Oh, I missed some coolant down in there in a nook and cranny. I may have to get out there. Another paper towel, get down in there and clean that up. That's just going to stink and turn white and be a big old mess. After I'm all done, probably have to take the car outside and just give the engine a bath with some degreaser or something. So yeah, all right, let's figure out what the next step is. All right, let's move on. Let's go ahead and put our expansion valve on next. Already got an oil-soaked O-ring right down there, so let's see how well we do here. Nice and clean in there. Yeah, we got to unravel this a little bit. Unravel it a lot, actually, which I don't want to do just yet. Well, anyway. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that. I'm going to get that out of the way first. I'm going to give you a lot of that. Damn, that wire. That's a bunch of wire there. I'm such a redneck. All right, that's good enough for right now. We'll need to move that around a little bit. Got a little C-clamp we got to put on here and get it tied down to right there. Let's get the clamp on there and the clamps on here. We'll do that next. Okay, let me get this little clamp on here. Let's see how well we're going to do here. I guess that'll go like that. I just cleaned it up and painted it a little bit. Get it wrapped around our valve there. And this one goes here, I'm assuming. Yeah, that one seems to be the right size for that. So, okay, just wanted to verify the size. I want to do things correctly, sort of. Yeah, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm just putting a screw in the clamp, so, you know. All right, let's see what we can do here. Keep from boogering this up. I know copper's highly ductile, but, you know, I don't want to do anything crazy. I have to open those up some. How's that look? Does it look okay to you guys? It looks okay to me. We're gonna have to we're gonna get the temperature probe for the cycling clutch set up. Get it set up in that same area as well. So I would imagine we'll tidy this up as we go along. For right now, I'm just going to get kind of like everything in place, and then we'll tighten it all down. Kind of like fasteners, you know. Start them all before tightening any. Isn't that right, Mr. Bradshaw? Like he's really watching my channel. Anyway, Jeff Bradshaw, Elderly Iron. When are you going to put out another video? Come on, man. All right, so we got the cycling switch bolted to the side of the evaporator box here with just a couple of self-tappers that came with the kit. No big deal. It's got a temperature probe coming off of it right here, an electrical harness over here, and this little crook right here will get wrapped around and will get tucked underneath the same area where this temperature probe is coming from the expansion valve. Let me button this up next and we'll move on. Let's go ahead and put our updated POA on here. It's not really even a POA. It's kind of like a placeholder just for looks. I'll show you in a minute. We got our oil-soaked O-ring here. So this thing is actually empty. There's nothing in there. Traditional POA is basically it's like a bypass valve, and it senses the pressure inside the evaporator core, and when it gets to a specified level, I think it's like 29.5 or 30 psi. If you're running R12, it'll pop off, and it'll release pressure back into the system. I'm not sure how or where. It doesn't really matter. And that's how it maintains the pressure in the evap core and keeps it from freezing up. If you're going to run a traditional POA with R134 gas, you need to recalibrate it. There's actually a little screw down inside the real one, and down inside, it's a 7/32 nut down in there. You can twist it, and you can hook some air to this thing, and you can hook up your gauge to it, and you can put some air on it, and you can watch it pop off. And if it say it pops off at 30, you're going to run R134. You watch that air go up. I think it's in inches of mercury, but anyway. And if it's too high, you can back it off, and then you can back it off till it only pops off at like 26, 27 inches of mercury. Then you know that's kind of what you do to calibrate it for R134. But you know, I debated over this for the last week or so, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what I got. This is what I'm going with. And if it doesn't work, I'll rip the whole thing out and start over. But I'm going to go with this, and we're going to see how well it works. If nothing else, it looks pretty. And let's go ahead and get you a little O-ring, little buddy. Don't give me a hard time now. Yeah, let's see. We may have to do some. That's the wrong thing entirely. I got it twisted the wrong way. I got the wrong fitting on there. It ain't supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like this. There we go. All right, it's good enough for now. All right, let's go ahead and get some bracing on this thing. Cleaned up the bracket here a little bit. All right, that's good. Not going to tighten it down. Nothing gets tightened down just yet. All right, let's move on to the next bit here. Got this connection that goes from the expansion valve over here to the POA. Little capillary tube of some kind. I'm going to call it a capillary tube for lack of a better word. It's got an O-ring on it already. That's the one. This is the one that came from O'Reilly. But this O-ring doesn't have any oil on it. And it's not green, so I'm going to use... It's like a cooking show. Well, on the side, I had a green O-ring with oil already on it. We'll go with that. All right, got that started. Cooking with gas now. We got a lot of extra copper here. I have to figure out a way to clean this up a little bit. I decided to move this tube. It's putting it between the lower pipe on the expansion valve and the evap box. We got to figure out a way to tie that down some kind of way. All right, let's go ahead and hook up our high pressure line coming out of the condenser to the expansion valve here. I've already got the other end loosely fitted to the condenser in the front of the car. See how well we did on our hose length here. There we go. Got it threaded on there loosely. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so I think up next it's time to put that compressor on the motor and then connect up the remaining two refrigerant lines, one that goes from the input of the condenser to the compressor and the one that goes from the output of the evap over to the compressor. So anyway, go ahead and get the compressor bolted up to the top of the engine next. All right, so the manufacturer said this has got 3 ounces of oil in it. This is where you put it in, according to the sticker that was on it. And we got 8 ounces of PAG 150, so we need 7 out of here. And I got one of these little things here. Let's see, this goes in teaspoons. What is that in ounces? Not a lot. We'll do milliliters. Milliliter, 20 milliliters it says there. 20 milliliters, let's see. 20 milliliters. Let's do volume. How many ounces? Fluid ounces in US, 0.6762804454. Well, I could have told you that. All right, so 20 milliliters is 0.676. We need 7 ounces. So we'll do we'll take 7 divided by that. That means we need 10.35 of those. So there you go. All right, I got a little piece of clear tube here. See how well this works. That's kind of cool. Great. That's what I thought would happen. And it runs over. That's why I didn't try to pour it, because that would be stupid. I knew this would be a complete and total faff. Went too fast, as usual. We're going to call that, we're going to call it 1. Better mark these down. 1. All right, go slower this time. All right, it's going to take about 2 hours, so I'll be back. All right, I went back and referenced the factory service manual. Actually, the system holds 10.5 ounces of mineral oil, is what is called for back in the day. I can only assume that you would use the same amount of this oil. If not, the world will come to an end and things bad will happen and all that kind of stuff. It'll be okay. So I did my math. That came out to 10 of these guys, and then up to 14.5 milliliters up to there. I didn't quite get the half on the 14. I think I just took it to 14 millimeter, but I don't think it'll matter. So anyway. Okay, where's my wrench? There we go. Let's tighten this rascal down. This is a 7/16, by the way, if you didn't know that, on your A6 compressor. Your oil fill lug is a 7/16. So this thing was on here tight, man. I ain't lying. So I'm gonna be easy. There we go. All right, we have a freshly oiled compressor. Next thing to do is get this guy bolted down to the car. All right, I wrestled that thing into place there. Basically, I took my hose here and tied it off to the hinge over there and kind of moved it out of the way temporarily. I love string. String is good. String makes your life, a better place. So yeah, all I got to do is put some bolts in this thing now. Got 2 in the front and 3 in the back. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll be back. All right, I've got the high side pressure hose from the compressor. Snake through the firewall there. And got ourselves a brand new oil soaked O-ring. Been using a little bit of masking tape on these ports. Keep the debris out. I flushed this hose out with brake clean and then blew it out with the air hose. I know it's, not optimal, but we're gonna pull a good long vacuum on this thing for probably a couple hours. We'll see if it holds. We'll pull it for an hour, and then if it holds, we'll pull it for another hour, and so on and so forth. It'll be all right. Get a wrench for that. Shouldn't have put this cover on there. It's in the way. I'll probably have to. Ain't that even? Must be a 7/8. Yeah, clearly I'm gonna have to take this cover off. But for right now, let's just leave it like that for right now. Let's move on. All right, went ahead and attached these main lines to the back of the compressor. It's kind of hard to film back there. So basically, you can't screw it up. They can only go one way. They got one bolt and a plate, and you bolt it down, and you're good to go. So not a huge deal. Let's go ahead and get this expansion line off of the evaporator core connected. Got ourselves a nice oily O-ring here, and we're going to gingerly manipulate this into position. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it just yet, but we'll get it figured out some kind of way. I'm going to need to, we got to gingerly coax this whole affair into place. Need to pull that back a little bit. So that just means tightening this. Oh man, this is aluminum and that's not, so you get it right. I don't want to tear it up. It starts to tighten up. And that's not cool, man. It's got to be perfect. Can't be tightening up. There we go. There we go. Ooh, man. That's kind of rough. And this is not touching. It's not touching. Right about now, I think it's time to start tightening things down. So let's do that next. We'll grab a hold of our makeshift POA like that. And we'll tighten this guy. This is an 1 1/8" wrench, by the way. So. That should be good. Now that's as far that way as this is going to go. Now we can tighten down this clamp right here. It holds it to the box. You don't want to go too tight. Oh no, that's steel. I forgot. Yeah, that's nice and tight. Get that one next. Easy. All right. Then we'll get that one. Universal wrench for that. All right. Let's do this. Let's put a dot on everything that's been tightened down. You two guys over here get a dot. An unobtrusive dot, no doubt. Might as well do the expansion valve next. All right, I went ahead and tightened everything down. We got a dot, 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 dot. Okay, got our R134 fitting there. I need to install a 134 fitting over here on the high side. I need to wrap this in the new tape that they provided with the kit. Probably tidy that copper line up a little bit. System's filled with oil. I already put the belts on. You didn't need to see me do that. I've done it like 8,000 times. I've had the power steering pump on and off of this ridiculous car so many times I can't count. Yeah, every time you make a move, you got to disconnect the power steering. Not sure why. Change the oil. Disconnect the power steering first. What? Okay. No, it's not quite that bad. But anyway, Oh yeah, we got to connect the. Oh yeah, I forgot about it. We got to connect. It needs some electricity, doesn't it? Now this is the original wiring harness, and the kit came with. Let's see. There's the tape we're going to use to insulate stuff, and we're going to have this wiring harness here connected over there on the switching unit. So I'll need to figure out how to do this. I think we're going to come from there to there to there to there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll be back. All right, so we got the wiring harness all taken care of, except for I haven't run the wires through a harness or anything yet because, well, something might change and I might have to rip it back out, and I'm not going to stow it away just yet. I'm just going to leave it loose like that while we get the system up and running. And once I'm sure everything's running correctly, then I'll tuck the wires away and clean it up. But we got the wiring harness plugged in. This is a stock 2-wire plug right there. And all you do is, so anyway, you cut into the stock wiring harness right here where you can see where it goes into the wiring harness there. Anyway, you redirect it over there to the switch, and it comes back out and it comes through over here, okay? And you come over, and it comes over here to the compressor. And then the other side of that is just the ground that grounds right there. No big deal. And that cycling switch will cycle the clutch on the compressor on and off, depending upon the temperature over there to keep the thing from freezing up. So anyway, that's kind of the way it works. It's kind of a mimicking a modern system, but anyway, whether or not it's going to work as good as the old one, it probably won't. But I'm trying to keep the cost down, so that's where we are. Up next, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that thing over there with that insulating tape. All right, there we go. Got the tacky tape wrapped around the top of the evaporator core. Not a huge deal. Man, that stuff's sticky, man. Let me tell you what. Basically, it insulates the temperature probe from the outside world so that the temperature reading can be accurate, I'm assuming. It looks like crap, doesn't it? Well, that's the way it looks stock. So, except for that other gnarly copper stuff down below there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. May do nothing. I may find some other type of black tape to maybe wrap it around a little bit and tidy it up, maybe just to protect it, really. I'm not sure yet, however. Let's see. The only thing I have to do now is an adapter on this, and then once I do that, it'll be gauges, and then we'll pull the vacuum, and then we fire it up and see how well we did. All right, let's see what we can do here. Yeah, let's go ahead and slip some dye in here. I should have used the other end because it's got to open. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just go with it. That's good enough. Great, now I have dye on my fingers. Thought this stuff was supposed to be, what do you call it? Ultraviolet or something. Awesome. Hope it's not as bad as that red number 5. Alright. Let's hook our can up, and then we'll turn the air conditioner on and watch it explode. Let's go ahead and purge the yellow line. Alright. Now we're cooking with gas. Open her up. We got refrigerant flowing, and it's yaller, as they say. Oh, yaller. The high side's coming up. 75. Low side's about 54 right now. Of course, just on one can here, so let's see. Are we done? I think we're done. Let's close that off. I think I got it figured out finally. All right, next can. Open her up gingerly. do this. Whew, yeah, I'd say that's working pretty well. And we open this guy. Let can number 2 flow in. I have no idea what the temperature on the gauge is. I'm just going to put some cans in and hope for the best. It's sucking it down good though. Compressor's running. Compressor's not making any noise. I did my math calculations. This system will hold 4 pounds. Close that off. Close that off. 64 ounces. These are 12-ounce cans. Basically, and then you do your 0.8 calculation between your R12 and your R134. That comes out with 4.2 of these cans, basically. Yeah, that's pretty cold. Let's check out the air temperature inside the car. About 48-degree air coming out of the center vent there. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at our pressure. Got 250 on the high side. That's still high, don't you think? About 28 on the low side. All right, let's put a 4 can in. Let's put a 4th can in there. Get this fiasco over with. Well, my hoses ain't blowing up. Let's suck that can down fast, boy. Hope I'm doing this right. These pressures don't look right to me. They look too high. I'm gonna put the 4 cans in there. I'm gonna leave it alone right now. And we're gonna take this rascal on a test drive and just see how well she does. I'm gonna close these valves off here. You go counterclockwise to turn these things, to close these things, by the way. It's kind of counterintuitive, but anyway. There. Let's see. That's awesome. And my shredder valve is completely trashed. And we're screwed. All right, that was a bit of a panic attack. Long story short, I made a mistake. By golly, I did not tighten the shredder valve in my high side adapter, and that cost me $50. Sure did. Because I just didn't even think about it. I thought it was defective. I pulled that fitting off, and it just started leaking out. I'm like, oh crap, it's defective, because I thought I had tightened it, and I thought it was clearly defective, and but it wasn't. I just simply never. I put it in there and tightened it a little bit, but not all the way, and it was just so stupid. So that's a good lesson to learn. If you're upgrading from R12 to R134, and you got to put these little adapters on, and you got to put the little shredder valve in there, tighten it down. Otherwise, it's going to cost you $50 in a Walmart run. Okay, so just buy more Freon. So I went and bought more Freon. It came back. It was all leaked out. I ran a vacuum on the system again, and then I refilled it. And after I did that, because of that leak, I was only getting 50-degree air inside of the car. I only could hear the leak after I pulled this off. I was only getting 50-degree air inside the car. But in the vents over on the driver's side, I'm getting 40-degree air now. And this vent over here that's closer to the evaporator core, I'm getting like in the high 30s, 36, 37, something like that. So it's working pretty well, really. Clearly, it works a lot more efficiently when it doesn't leak. Imagine that. So time will tell as to how well we do. I bought a couple of fans, a couple of small 6-inch fans. I'm going to put them in front of the condenser, so we'll probably do that next. During all this, I did find that the high pressure fitting at the steering gear is seeping a little bit, so I'll probably have to go ahead and replace the high pressure hose, but I'll probably do that off camera. I won't include that in today's video. But for right now, the air conditioning work is concluded. The 0.8 math with the R134, R12 says 4.2 cans. I put 4 in there. I'm going to call it done. So we'll just see how well it works. And if it cools fine, then being a teensy bit undercharged is not going to hurt anything. Overcharged is really bad. Up next, we'll go ahead and take a look at these fans. All right, got our little air conditioning goodie box here. We'll set that aside like Julia Child set aside her dirty dishes. Aren't they the cutest thing? All right, these are just small little. The reason why I got small ones is because, well, let me show you. All right, so you can see right here. See where my hand is? I figured you might get you got these bars here, these braces, you know, I suppose a person could remove them, but I reckon they're there for a reason, so I ain't gonna do that. So I'm guessing I can get one of these 6-inch fans right there, about as big as my hand, like that, right? So I can get one right there on that condenser, and that's pretty much right there next to the output at the bottom. That should really work out well. And I figured we could probably put another one. We might be able to squeeze another one over there. So that's kind of like my plan. Okay, so this is pretty simple. These are just basic electric fans, cheap El Cheapo off Amazon, supposedly reversible. You know, you hook up the power one way and it goes one way, and you hook up the power the other way and it goes the other way. Pretty simple, really. And you got these mounting brackets and springs. This is all typical stuff. You got these zip tie doohickeys, and they basically go through the radiator or through the condenser, and they take the fan and they mash it up against it. So that's what we're going to do next. I bought 2 of them, so boom, there you go. Really, the most complicated thing about this, which is not really complicated, but it's going to be a little interesting, is trying to find power. So I'm going to have to find a power source, and whether or not I'm going to manually switch it or hook it into a relay. All right, well, I think this is where I'm going to wrap up this video. I've got quite a bit of more work to do to tidy up the engine bay, and I need to put these fans in. Got a special visitor coming in this weekend, so I think we might save this little project for that time. So I don't need to really do this just yet. The way we're going to do this, I got these relays in here from True Mods, Amazon buy. These are 30 amp relays, and they come with a nice little handy fuse holder and a wiring harness, and there's several that comes with, like 6 in a box. I put one over there. One of these is what I use to put in the modern HEI ignition on the Cadillac, because I run a relay to activate the coil. So anyway, I'm going to do something similar with these fans. Not sure where I'm going to run the wiring yet. Not sure how I'm going to hook it into the power and the battery, when I'm going to turn the fans on, when they're going to turn off. Is it going to be temperature controlled? I really don't know all those facts just yet. So I don't want to rush into this. I want to do this correctly. I want to do it right. Also, in the next video, I think what we're going to do is take the inaugural first cruise with the new camshaft we installed just recently. So you guys stick around for that. You don't want to miss it. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember, it's okay to upgrade your classic with a little bit of modern technology to improve drivability. After all, isn't that what you want to do with your old car? Drive it